You are most welcome to come join me on my journey as I build up my digital Nscale model railway layout and my Airportdiorama in 1:500 scale. All products that I feature in my clips are purely from my own personal preference and requirements. I am not endorsed or sponsored by any of the products that are featured on my layout. So please come along with me and enjoy. In this episode, I'll be discussing the installation of my Intercity Express tunnel portal on the top level of my Nscale diorama. The tunnel portal that I'll be installing is the ice portal from Bush, and I've used the same tunnel portal throughout my display. On the inside of the tunnel portal, I will be using the Fleischmann Decroflex tunnel tube, which gives a nice illusion of the stone finish inside of the tunnel when viewed from the outside. The installation of the portal and the tunnel tube is very straightforward. It's just a case of gluing and nailing down the portal to your baseboard and then securing your tunnel tube then to the portal. I add more stability by having wood offcuts that run from the portal to the edge of the tunnel tube, and I suggest where you can, you try and build your tunnels on a straight piece of track, and that reduces the complexity. But we will cover now how I got around building my tunnel portal with the tunnel tube on the curved track next. The portal is secured to the baseboard as with the other portals with nails and glue, and then slightly offset right of center to allow for the immediate curve to the right hand side. I then secured the tunnel portal to the wood offcuts, and I left the one piece on the left side straight, and then the second piece I was going to glue in at an angle, and the angle allows for the curvature of the train carriages as they come around the track. Before you close up your tunnel tube, you want to ensure that both the inner and outer rail, that the carriages are able to make the corner without derailment from the wall of the tunnel tube. When laying the track, I had already pre-ballasted in between my two tracks. Now that I know where my walls will be in relation to the tunnel portal with the tunnel tube, I can then do the ballasting on the outside of the tracks to the tunnel walls before I close up the tunnel tube. For my ballast, I have been using decorative sand that I got from IKEA in the plant section. It comes in different grades and different grains and is a very cost-effective way of doing large amounts of ballasting when you have a big project. I then decant part of that sand into a small dropper bottle so it's easier to manage and has less mess. And then also in the other dropper bottle, I mix 2/3 wood glue with 1/3 water, and I will then show you how I do the ballasting for my track. Using the dropper bottle that has 2/3 glue, 1/3 water mix, I generously apply that to the baseboard directly. You can be quite generous in your application because once you tip the ballast out on top of it, it will absorb into the glue. On top of the section that you have now put the glue layer, you then sprinkle the ballast on top, and you can repeat as necessary for effect. Once I've finished the ballasting before it dries, I ensure that it is level. I use a toothbrush and I ensure that it is flat, level, and that there's no ballast on the track. With the ballasting complete, you can then glue the two tunnel tubes together and close up the tunnel. Once the two connected tunnel tubes have dried, then use a craft knife to square off the back of the tunnel. I hope you've enjoyed this episode of me installing my tunnel on a bend with ballasting and tunnel tubing. Now all that's left is for a train to run through it.